Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Erothian Unofficial Spoiler Podcast. I am Van Sexel, and here with me always is.
Sincere Steve here, people. Welcome to the show. We'll have a guest today for this weekly spoilers podcast. So, say hi again to Naga.
Hi, Naga. It's me, the person from the other recaps, the asshole that you hate so much.
He's also the god who brought Regicide back together.
Oh, true, yeah. Yeah, I am Tyler's god entirely.
Oh, man. This episode, we will be discussing Regicide Season 4, Episode 6, Thronekeeper Season 2, Episode 5, and Kingmaker Season 5, Episode 6. Quick thing, because it was pointed out to us, maybe this might be a weekly thing if we keep forgetting. What we forgot to talk about. We forgot to talk about Rayron's older shady brother, Tristan, who may or may not be part of the Preclarum, but I guess we can get more into that when we talk about.
Was he confirmed to be his older brother, or was it just like someone in the family?
No, he's the brother. Lady Isaac was saying that it's a bad thing about what happened to his brother. She was talking about her.
Ah, okay.
Younger brother, yeah, they said younger brother. But
Okay.
I mean, I don't really know two Corvains, sorry. That's Rayron and soon to be Jaden. So I don't think this guy actually exists.
I'm
I mean, if they don't have some sort of connection to the undead or devils, I don't think they really count, sorry.
saying Tristan could be the cooler older brother, for all we know.
Or he could be a connection to demons.
It's like,
The way Lady Isaac was talking about him, I don't think he's cool at all. So.
I mean, when I mean cooler, I mean cooler than Rayron. Like, listen, I know I'm an apologist podcast, but you guys don't want to
Listen,
rub his foreskin all over.
Oh man. Before we jump the gun, let's just get into Regicide.
Okay.
So we start off this episode with Commander Bars coming out of the gate, and apparently the people in the gate wouldn't let her in. So there was
they're totally within their rights and everything like that. That's their land.
She's a high commander, right? Just to make it clear.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So there's only like one person who's technically above her in terms of
Yeah.
military structure.
Mm.
So,
but they can totally deny her access. It makes total sense.
total sense.
Absolutely.
Yes. Military
Yeah,
protocol.
yeah.
100%.
Technically, you're in the wrong jurisdiction. We technically don't have to listen to you. Yeah, fortunately, Commander Barnes isn't the person to take no for an answer.
We get Cadus back, and he is just beat the hell up, dude. In both ways.
What have they done to my boy? My poor boy. They massacred my poor boy.
Yeah. That was rough. It was rough.
Didn't you guys say, like, in the last recap podcasts of the week that that you guys didn't expect him to be more like a guest, or didn't expect him to be didn't expect that to happen, essentially?
No, I wasn't expecting him to be.
I didn't expect them to be looked after well. I didn't expect them to be dead, but I didn't know what else to expect.
Yeah. I
mean, I was expecting him not to have been locked up because he's a freaking lieutenant commander.
Think about this way. So there's a lieutenant commander goes on himself to a prison that's he's not supposed to be allowed to go to, even though he has the proper rank and authority. He goes in by himself, and he's has high ideals, morals, and ethics, and is just pissed off with everything that you are doing. But all the people in the gate listen to, let's say, the warden. The warden has the power. Cadus doesn't. So the warden can just say, you know what, I don't like your attitude. You're by yourself. No one else knows. How about you find yourself a comfortable cell?
Yeah,
but
that's
the thing, though.
That was
He's a
my
lieutenant
highest.
commander.
Yeah. He's a lieutenant commander.
Somebody's gonna ask where the hell the commander went.
I mean, no one asked for what? How long was he gone?
According to them, years. According to others, months. According to others, days. It's the perfect time for him to go there.
He only told people where he was going. He only told 3 people, and those were ex-convicts.
2
of the game.
ex-convicts, and one was a foreign enemy
Yes.
soldier.
So he didn't
That's
really.
true.
He didn't really tell anyone from command.
Yeah.
So
I
keep
mean,
that in mind.
that's true. Still,
There's plenty of comeuppance and consequences coming for the gate, it seems. Assuming this group survives. They've already lost 6. And most of their horses. One thing about Anno, they're always going to lose their horses.
Oh,
I knew that's what you were gonna say.
yeah. I'm glad Anna made that. That was like I knew what was going to happen the moment Anna dropped that curse when Cadus went to the gate. I was like, "Yep, this is going to happen," and I'm so happy for it because it's just going to be an interesting story.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, technically he shot himself in the foot with it, so...
I'm technically broke the pack. The you don't really mess with another Patreon's villain.
that little thing we had going there. But,
Yeah.
I mean, he also... Don't forget, he also was on the trump card that killed Leon, so he was always outside of it anyway.
To be fair, that was chaotic, and he didn't specify. I'll give him a pass for that one.
Good old curses, so they're a lot more damaging and not as easy to counter.
Let's move on to what you were talking about, where Cadus is just shattered. Mentally, emotionally, physically, apparently. He's just broken. He's a broken man. It was a little hard to see this at first.
Especially after, like, immediately when Scott was supposed to RP Cadus, we got the news about RBG. So
Yeah.
it kind of set the entire mood for that scene.
Probably should go over that a little bit more in detail because not all of us from the States, just as a thing. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Supreme Court Justice, I think it was.
Supreme Court Justice, she was a phenomenal woman that had one of the seats of the Supreme Court. She recently died, and now there's going to be a lot of, to keep it short,
Consequences due to it.
consequences and political bullshit. So yeah, R.I.P. Ruth, RBG, and yeah.
So back to like, sorry if it seems a little flippant, but we can't have that be the whole podcast.
There's something had to be said.
It's fine.
Yeah, like Scott said, and thing, it definitely helped get him into the freaking mindset to play that character.
He had a very defeatist mentality coming out of the gate. Because when I made the character with Scott, he was supposed to be like literally like the golden boy of Parendel, like basically the poster child, where it's like, this is our Captain America, the person who represents the ideals of Parendel, that anyone from any position from anywhere can rise up in Inclame and become someone. And he got swamped.
Yeah, that's just words too.
Quick thing, which you guys might find funny. Every time I imagine Cadus, for some strange reason, I imagine him as a dwarf in armor. I have no backing for why I do that. There's absolutely no reason. And today, yesterday, I was trying to figure out, why do I keep thinking this Cadus is a dwarf?
Wait.
I think I think she's a paladin.
Wait. What's a dwarf? Those don't exist.
No, really,
Get out of here! This
No, not at all.
propaganda. Like no. They don't exist.
Oh man.
So either he's a dwarf or he's a paladin. Either way, you're wrong.
Next year, and tell me elves exist.
So, moving up ahead a little bit, we find out that the party decides to go to Merrick because of Cadus's Cadis's heavy wounds, and they have a lot of hurt surges from the troll attack from last episode.
To be
So,
fair, only 2 members of the party. Only two members of the party basically went to that town.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think that
when I
GIF that he
mentioned-
posted in Regicide Spoilers was pretty darn accurate.
Yes. Someone
If you're in
was
Discord, you
dodging
can-
the plot, and then decided to give their god a middle finger. I am not calling
God-
out that person by name, but by God, I had to slap their snake ass straight back to the plot.
Oh man.
I'll be honest, I was tempted to just curse.
Let's talk about that for a
Yeah.
little bit. I was not confident that they were going to rejoin today. Now, Daelric said by first break, which I gave him a break because we had the first break when we found out that RBG died. So it's really hard to try to maneuver that all into there. But I was like, it's been a while and Ophios still ain't joined the party. and then he decided, fuck the party. And went off by himself.
I'm not going to argue with Tyler that that's what Ophius would have done.
I mean, yeah.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm
It's
not gonna
just
argue
really
with that.
freaking unfortunate for the story, but it's
Yeah.
fair. It's fair.
It makes sense. Like, I'm not going to argue Tyler's logic. Like, technically, Ophios could perceive that in many other ways. Like, that went down that way is unfortunate, but makes sense.
Well, character-wise, I love the fact that he did it. Meta-wise, it was like, dude, it's been like 4 episodes.
Like, you know Scott's giving you an out. Like, hey, Tyler, we're about to move the plot. And he's like, nah, I'm going to move him away. I was like, I'm just going to be here in my edgelord corner.
But character-wise, I love the way that Tyler was analyzing the way that Ophios would take all that information in and try to process it, because it makes total sense. He doesn't know that they thought he was dead from Elijah looking at the whole thing, which I kind of want to get into. I think more than before, or maybe it's just me picking it up, I see that Elijah is very empirical. Like he needs to see these things. Even though he had that inkling that it might have been Ophios, it was like, okay, you got to prove to me that you're Ophios. Because he had the inkling because he went back and immediately told Rena that it might have been Ophios. Like if he didn't believe a little bit that it was Ophios, he probably wouldn't even brought it up to her.
Yeah, he believes in like he likes to deduce things logically. He's like, Ophios is dead. It doesn't make sense this person is Ophios. Provide me proof.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't go on. Would you say he goes on gut feelings or no? Because I would say no.
No.
The only reason I would say no is because the amount of questions that he was just asking, it was like, okay, maybe you're Ophelia. Okay, maybe you're another snake that was with us, because it's logically impossible for you to be Ophios unless Ophios didn't die, and we honestly believe Ophios died.
Yeah, they saw him turn into lava and melted through a statue.
Yeah.
That looks pretty dead to anyone else. It was like his god literally took him from them.
Unless someone had seen that happen before and knew the other person came back, that's the only thing they could have. Well, other than that, being consumed by their god, sort of thing. That'd be the only other way to take that, really. Yeah.
Plus, I don't think they've never fought a Sloko, so they don't know what a Sloko does when he dies. Maybe it just turns back to lava.
I do also want to bring up that Messi was getting some brownie points at the Paradol people that they're with for all of his medical abilities in this episode.
Yeah.
Not just for Cadis, but also for the other guards who were injured and things like that as well.
Yeah, their attitude towards him very much changed because he saved them. He basically took care of the medicine and basically kind of he helped them. He's not helping them like it's like because their lines meet. He's like he doesn't see them as enemies. They're like technically these are just people now.
Yeah, he sees them as people too.
Yeah, I don't have any hatred towards them. It'll be unfortunate if we fight against each other on opposite sides again. But like, I feel like he realized, or he always believed this, that in the end, no matter what side you are, people are just people. Every soldier is a person. That doesn't make them this whole monstrosity that one side's propaganda tries to show off.
I think he came to that after having to work with Cadus and the other Paradel commanders for so long, because he got to know Rena and Ophios for like 10 minutes, and then he immediately was working with Paradel to move the objective along. So I feel like him working with Paradel is what probably changed his mind.
Yeah, I could probably debate this before that, but it's just a case of really that when he came in, it was really freaking quick. Everything was moving
Yeah,
way too
that's
quickly
true.
to properly show that.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, sure, he didn't go digging people up when the building collapsed, but it wasn't exactly like they had much time once the building collapsed.
Do you want to fast forward to, I guess, when they get to town and basically Elijah's conversation with Cadus, and then Rena's conversation with Cadus, and then Cadus's the plan he has?
That is the next part, yeah. Yeah, so with Cadus's injuries, Elijah's concerned that he might have internal bleeding, so decides to hang around and make sure that he doesn't have it while he's sleeping, which I can kind of understand. Is like, what the fuck are you doing here? Which is kind of Cadus's response was.
Like how Messi described it was brilliant. He says like I'm basically like that side character that basically sits in the corner in a chair nodding off waiting for the main character to wake up from a coma. I feel like that's a great description of what was going on.
All the talking shit of Cadus becoming the main character.
And Rena was like, I thought I was the main character. I mean, I'm just saying, like it makes sense. It kind of makes sense if the roles were reversed. It makes more sense that like Reno is more like the villain antagonist, and Cadus is like the protagonist. Like considering the whole alignment and morals and ethics. But yeah.
Well, I was gonna say in this conversation, you really get to see how broken down Cadus is. Like he makes quite a few like we were saying before. You kind of made Cadus to be the poster boy for Paradel, and then this he says like, she's not my commander. I'm tasing first, or like there's a lot of stuff that's like, whoa, dude. Like I thought you were a Paradel, you know.
Well, to be fair, he says he was tasing first. I'm like,
yeah.
I think that's implying that he's remembering more about his past. Like, I wasn't always Parendel, and he realizing everything about Parendel is not as good as I once thought.
I mean, in the situation he was in, it's definitely a case of he had a lot of time to think about where he came from and how he got to this position.
Well, yeah, because we didn't say how long he was there. He was gone for like years. His perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually find that out in this conversation between Cadus and Elijah, that it's been at least over a year.
My guess would be 3 to 6.
but I can agree with that. The only thing that I would say otherwise is that even though he always knows he was tasing first, that was never like, he wasn't proud about being tasing first.
Yes,
because he was proud about being Paradel. Yeah, so that would be his number one thing. Like it would say, okay, I'm a Paradel soldier. Where in this conversation we get, I'm
because the worst memories he has had would have been when he was Tazian.
Until now.
Until now. Yeah, and God basically kind of gave some lore to Rena because because her character would have known this, that he lived in an abusive family. His father abused him, and like the only good thing about his life was, oh, I get to hang out with an awesome person like Rena. But everything else is shit. And then eventually Parendel came, and his life just improved. And it was like, oh, this is great. All the good things that ever happened to me is while I was in the Parendel military. And then a bunch of random shit happened to him all at once, where he was like, the leadership is a lie. We're hiding secrets. Like my own military basically put me in prison. Yeah,
sure.
There's a lot. Well, I wouldn't say there's a lot to Cadus that hasn't been revealed, but there's still some things. For example, why Cadus was in, I think it was Zolgov, was it, where Rena and Ophios were arrested? Or was it Zatish?
It was Zolgov, yeah. They also arrested in Tasendale. Just who remembers they get arrested a lot?
Yeah. It's like there's still some things about Cadus that are more interesting to figure out, like what happened during his time when he last met Rena during the Inclame, and then up to the campaign. So it'll be interesting how much that's going to be explored. But they got most of it essentially.
We also found out that Vance and Laszlo are probably dead. R.I.P.
Oh, they're
Probably.
100% dead. They're unless some sort of time travel shenanigans. But
One
I'm
of them
like,
was really old, so if 6
Yeah.
years happened, that's in that sort of conditions is definitely dead.
yeah,
The other one was sort of a terroristy sort of person, so I don't think they were going to go any easier on him.
this is the first time that like advisors have been or contacts have been permadead. Like Leon came back, but and also Mog. But
Yeah.
but this is also
True.
off screen too.
Yeah.
So
All right.
Kinda makes
R.I.P.
sense,
to
though.
those guys.
Mm. Yeah, R.I.P.
So we also had Elijah talking with Rena about his background.
Yeah, you finally got exposed in Regicide.
Keymaker did it first.
Well, no, I think
So, yeah.
he did talk to
He talked to Dwayne about some details, but he didn't really say much. But then
And then
Scott,
that
Scott did a
nightmare that
dream.
everyone else watched. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So it was like imagery and vague sentences.
Wait.
Which people can
did he
put
talk
two
to
to
Kithel
two
about
together.
it as well when they were drunk?
No,
Well,
like when he was drunk, he's like, "Tell me all about Guinevere."
Oh,
Never
you're
mind.
right,
Don't tell
you're
me all
right.
about what
Yes,
she's
yeah,
been
yeah.
doing. Tell me all about it, and then gets knocked
Yeah, you're
passed
right.
up the fuck out.
I remember that.
By the way, so and then Rena basically made like, "Oh, if I knew, I would have killed that." Like she basically implied that she would like hurt Guinevere. I was like, "Don't hurt her. She's a poor girl that is broken." I mean,
Well, technically, it wasn't her that put those experiments
True.
in place.
I mean, I'm trying to remember what exactly was her extent. She said it was mainly her father, but she was also the assistant. She wanted to make it less lethal, but they already were moving on for another experiment, which I'm not sure. You guys mentioned the podcast, right?
That she was
Uh,
being tested.
Working on the one that grips people's magic away.
Yes. I was wondering if
we
you guys already
probably
stated
did,
that
and if
in
we
the
did,
previous
we
podcast.
discussed it.
Yeah. So
think we
yeah.
did.
So she also been experimented on immediately afterwards. So she's also a victim
Yeah.
of that. I'm not saying like she's blameless of the experiments, but I don't think she was a daughter being told what her father would do and saying that it was good. Like the whole propaganda thing, and she seemed pretty felt
Yeah,
pretty guilty of what
once she
happened.
realized what they were going through, that's when she was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, and then it happened to her, and I was like, "Oh wow, I feel bad." If Elijah found out, I wonder how that conversation would have gone. If he found out that she was also experimented on, she was also
Yeah,
victim.
I'm hoping we get to see that in the future.
I don't know. Maybe Rena
I
might
can
try.
picture a couple
kill
of
Guinevere.
scenes from anime and things like that where I think it would go like, but
Oh, dude! Imagine if Regicide actually straight up killed Guinevere. Like, you think how pissed off KM is
Well-
going to be?
they're already pissed off that Ophius attacked
Yeah.
Phil.
I
So
know.
we'll come into
I know,
that
so
this week.
it's going to scale. It's like, oh, the person who helped us cure the disease. Not to mention,
One of the first people we met, and like when we came to Adair, that's been giving us all sorts of items and that sort of thing. Has been really helpful with our trade and that sort of thing. And you robbed them.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll find out what happens in Kingmaker.
Now you're going to murder a friend of ours? Well, yeah. It'll be
At least they calmed down from the immediate let's use a boot.
yeah. But after the whole Elijah and Rena conversation, then there was the whole Rena and Cadus talk, and that was actually pretty interesting about what they had to speak about, because I think that was the conversation that I was looking forward to the most.
They started off the conversation, well, Therina just asking about the experience in the gate. I don't know if she recalled, like, if she really gave too much information about what she went through, but she was asking Cadus about what he went through and was comparing it to what she had to go through.
Yeah, it's definitely more her asking him and not giving away what she had.
Yeah. The worst thing that she experienced in the gate was her inmate that she was chained to died, and she had to carry his body across, which was kind of traumatizing to her, and she wanted to make sure that didn't happen to you, right? And I was like, no. I was like, okay.
I think he said which one. So
Yeah, well, he had
I think-
multiple, to be fair.
yeah.
But
So
but they
that
never
kind of
died on
implies
their
that
dead.
maybe there could have been a chance that they did have to at least once.
I mean, true, but he did confirm that no, that never happened to me. So
I mean, he didn't have to carry his dead inmates around, but they did come and get. They, I think she asked if they picked them up, and he said yeah. So he didn't have to drag them around.
and I think like he like started hatching up a plan and is like, hey, I got a plan. But for this to work, we need Barnes on our side, and also the new commander of Momley.
Which Elijah agreed that he would definitely help. And because Rena seems to be going along with whatever Elijah says at the moment, they are going to help Cadis, and Cadis will help them try to take down the leadership that is basically running the gate. So
yeah, so the idea is to basically replace the current leader of Zolgoth, and eventually, which is either lead an army or whatever lawful action.
It was the plan to force an inquiry into what's happening at the gate. It needs the 3 commanders of Zolgoth, Momley, and
Zatish and Momley. So yeah, like that's an interesting thing that he's going to try to like. He seems like he's like before he was willing to wait to rise up in command. This one's like, no, I'm gonna fucking take it now. It's like I'm done playing nice, essentially.
Yeah.
I know one other character like that, and unfortunately, that character's not a nice person.
Well, it seems like Cadis is he's still a lawful good person. But like we don't know if he had him if there is an alignment change. But it seems like he still cares about people and he still wants to do things by the books. But it seems like he's not gonna be apologetic. He's not gonna be nice. He's gonna be like, I'm gonna get what I want and no one's gonna stop me. Like I'm gonna plot. I'm going to play this political BS with the other commanders to get what I want. And if anyone else that tries to stop me can just fucking burn. So yeah.
So once again, we have an NPC giving them the plan.
I mean, it's not a bad plan.
No, it's not a bad plan. It's
he's a bit emotional. He's a bit emotional at the moment. I think because we talked about who Cadis served under before, right? Like he basically served under Leon, and he was like one of his proteges. So he has the military strategic mind of how to tackle a potential threat. I'm not concerned about his plan. I'm concerned about how his own personal well-being, because it seems like he doesn't give two shits about what happens to him. So it sounds like he needs more of an emotional anchor more than anything.
Yeah. I think, and I also wanted to bring this up a little bit earlier, but I was forgetting. Because Ophios isn't here, I think it allows Elijah and Rena's relationship to grow a little bit stronger. We see
100%.
We see Rena relying on Elijah in his decision making rather than just going, going whatever the hell she wanted to do, like when Ophios was around. So it's going to see how that dynamic changes once Ophios comes back. And I honestly cannot wait to see, how the party reacts. But let's move on just a little bit more.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think nothing much is gonna change, but I think Ophios is gonna bring more. I'm not gonna say emotional weight, but help bring the party a bit more focus because now they don't have that emotional weight that's pulling them back.
There's gonna be a fuck ton of confusion still there.
Yeah.
One important thing, they may go along with this plan. Is that Rena and Elijah were talking about trying to convince the commander not to even go to the temple because they feel like it's gonna waste not waste time traveling or even that. It's like we don't know how time works since we might have messed it up, and we don't know how much time it's gonna cost to pass out here while we're in there and all that kind of stuff. Cadis believes that the commander seems kind of single focused, that she's not going to agree with that. She wants to go along with the plan, and he is willing to help her to get on her good side, is what I honestly think that's about.
I'm true. Also, technically, they don't need to go into there. Her just seeing the temple, I think, is like what Elijah said earlier. I think will be proof enough.
I don't think that's going to be proof for her at all.
Like
I don't
the weird. Well, it becomes something that it wasn't before. I feel it's like it will verify because she already
she'll
spoke to the
need
skull.
to at least see or experience some of those pools.
Yeah,
there.
she's gonna want to go inside.
That'll be proof enough, I reckon.
Probably. True. But
And she probably still will be interested in what's at the top.
Yeah,
yeah, if I imagine they can convince her, probably the first floor they could probably explore in relatively safety. It's the ones that are higher that are probably the big
Oh
deals.
yeah, no, those ones definitely gonna be big deals.
I feel like if they kind of give her forewarning and like, we'll lose years and perhaps months or years out of this, so do not go up the higher floor. I feel like she can be convinced not to go that high
I mean,
because there's serious danger.
Was Cadus parent or human? Just as a
Parent.
reminder. So technically, it's safer for Cadus, Rena, and the commander to go up the top.
Yep.
It probably wouldn't be a good idea for Loads to go back up there. Though, unfortunately, with those three going up, those are three people you don't want to go onto the
yeah,
time pedestal and fix things, because now they need both of those commanders for the plan they have.
yeah. That's what I
So
was gonna
it's
say.
probably not going to get fixed anytime soon.
I was gonna say that.
Unless they can get another soldier.
Well, Cadus agreed to that he's willing to stay back. And what town was that?
There was Ostrad and there was the other one. What was the other one?
Trezogo.
Yeah.
Chisodal, yeah.
So he agreed that. I mean, he said he's willing to do that, but they can't just like take her there and then help her get in and then just leave because they need her. Like you were saying, they need her for that plan. So that's not happening, and she's not going to be satisfied with. Oh, look, it's a magical opening. Maybe you guys were telling the truth. I don't think that's going to be enough for her at all.
Honestly, I think they should bring Cadus just in case if she tries to pull something. Because
But they're worried.
there's
about
always the chance.
They're worried
There's
about
always a
his health.
I mean, true, but like the dude's like what survived in the gate for years. I mean,
I think that's the problem.
like, I'm just saying, like, I'm pretty sure he could walk, like, he could survive a bit longer. Yeah, just like it's just the possibility, but yeah.
Also, we're kind of getting to my quick topics now. RIP to Leo. You know, Scott forgot that Leo existed. He was a wizard.
Who? You mean the person that we don't give a shit about? On to Thronekeeper, guys.
No, we got to talk about that amazing role and how clutch that role was.
What role? Oh,
and you know,
my
the
role.
whole getting turned
Okay.
inside out in front of Yondis, I think it was.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, but yeah. I mean, ignoring Leo, but let's speak about me. About that amazing role where Ophios wasn't sure if he was going to
be able to reunite.
Yeah, reunite, but he was going to be passing by the village, and the party did say they were going to leave the village to check what's going on in the outskirts.
Well, they were checking to see if that snake was following them.
Yeah, the snake was following them, and there was like there was a percentage chance, and basically, I rolled both times, basically where Ophios was and where the party, where Elijah and Rena would be, and it has to be a certain margin, and basically it had to be within I believe a 7-point margin, and I basically rolled very well where they're very close to each other, and
I would say the best part of that was the chat afterwards.
Yeah.
Where he straight up told, "I am your god." That is I had to do a couple of spit takes.
Yeah, I choose to believe that Snaga the Abusive in game basically is like, I fucking hate the soap opera that I'm watching. Just kind of like just guided the hands of Ophios to go a certain direction towards the party, and he's like, "Okay, you're a good boy," and just leaves. I choose to believe that.
So yeah, that was good. Also, listen, Regicide when I'm doing my rewatches is probably the only one I don't skip through because some of the conversations.
Yeah, anything happens.
Some of the conversations. I think we need a Regicide podcast because they spent how long was that, Steve? Yeah, I think you said in the chat.
All right, yeah, it was like 50 minutes just on that freaking double gate debate. There was one very interesting clip. So if you happen to look at Discord clips taken by Viking, because I was unfortunately having to try and catch up on so many things at the same time.
Wait, guys,
So
we're on a Zoom call. Everyone probably can't see this, but we should all be doing what Elijah said. How we should speak to each other. Like we just talk through the side.
side profile.
Yeah.
Listen,
Well, the good thing about being on a Zoom call and this being an audio podcast is, how do you know we weren't doing that already?
I honestly love their side conversations. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, but going back to that, if you look in clip section, Viking Magoo took a clip of a very funny little moment from that, which I recommend you watch.
Is that it for Regicide, or is there any other questions or answers you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, we're gonna move over to
We do have all the other ones to get to, mate.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
the only thing I want to shout out though is that this was a pretty big RP week for Elijah. He has some weeks, but this one was like jam packed and it was pretty good. So
can we keep Elijah? like can we just disown Yondis and just keep Elijah as the adopted child of Regicide?
Listen,
we can keep Yondis' side stories for whenever other people can't be there and only Messi can.
Yeah, like a mini campaign. Like I'm all for that.
Yondis is one of my favorite characters, but man, I don't want Elijah to go, so I'm torn.
Let's just think Elijah's the superior character.
That's not what I'm saying at all. Okay.
But that's what I'm saying though.
He's a wizard, Yondis.
Speaking of forgotten children, Thronekeeper.
Oh.
You can't keep slamming Thronekeeper, okay?
I have the right.
This was a good episode.
It was a good episode. It was honestly.
Unfortunately, I didn't really get much time to watch all this one, so it's gonna be mostly these two again.
There was a lot of revelations and party vocal ambition, I guess.
Yes. We start off the episode with basically them getting back to the town and Laszlo going to his own room, and then Oscar training some recruits for a little bit until he meets.
Yeah. That went well because the recruits are just like, we already had to do training. We have to do training for you randomly out of nowhere straight now. Fuck.
Yeah, Will described it perfectly. He's that super committed, super enthused guy who wants to train everybody when everybody else is like, God damn it, I just want to go home. But
it's unfortunate timing, like with all this time on BS. Unfortunate timing.
We end up meeting Faust, Laszlo's eccentric master. Eccentric is not enough. This guy is he's like an anime master.
Just if you really want someone to picture Master Roshi.
Master Roshi.
Everyone was saying that in chat.
He's like Master Roshi turned up to 11.
Yeah, he's also got divination and teleportation on his side. Why has he got that, I wonder, with all the people that he's talked about paying attention to?
I love how they switch that conversation. It's like, wait, why are we watching Lady Arceum? It's like,
oh, why are you watching Cristela? Why are you watching Lady Arceum?
Oh, what? Did I say that? and also, he can teleport within the castle whenever he wants, breaking a security protocol.
Also, talking about breaking things, we have Laszlo still using Arcane Congress materials.
Yes. Yes.
Called out by his own master for it, too.
He gets super called out, dude.
When that little Master Roshi guy kept calling you out for breaking something when he's breaking all these other sort of things.
We also find out that Oscar's, I want to say scar, but it's not a scar. It's like
a magical wound.
There you go. Is actually dampening his ability to pick up magic. So,
well, it's also resisting magic too at the same time.
Yeah. But it, like Laszlo said, it's affecting the outside and possibly the in. So it's hard for him to be able to learn magic, I guess. Also, uh,
Yeah.
so they have to figure out a way to turn that off. And he leaves with them saying, "You need to do more research. Call, call me when you figure."
That's an unfortunate thing because Lesso lives fucking way longer than he
Yeah.
does. Lives way longer than both of them. And if he gets the time to research it, he might be done by the time they both integrate.
I didn't even think about that.
With everything he's got going on, do you really think he has the time?
I mean, yeah, I imagine so.
Hmm.
But
He probably won't be calling force again though by the time he's finished it.
the conversation that Laszlo and Oscar have immediately after that was kind of interesting. I'm like almost slightly paranoid, I would say, but with good reason.
Yeah. I would say both Laszlo and Oscar have both proven that they're very paranoid about a lot of things.
Yeah, it's a conversation about their opinions on the Queen's Council, and that a lot of the council members have their own interest in several other things that's outside of the interest of Malta. Isaacs are interested in Iscaria.
Arsim's got interests with
Galdaria.
Arcane Congress.
Oh, who?
Arsim.
Or Arsim has
Arsim.
interest in Arcane Congress, but
I mean, we find out.
yes,
more magic.
Yes and no. We find out more, but it's yes and no. Then there's I forgot who the other family, but they have interest in Galdaria. Nadia's family has interest in Galdaria. The Qatar.
Nadia's has Yavance. Nadia was the Yavance one. Qatar, the weapons guys, is Galdaria.
And there's another guy who had interest in Yavance. And
that'd be the Bombo guy, the guy with the Oathkeeper guy. Yeah,
and it's very interesting how they're like. Talk about let's ask them the hard question. Let's play a hardball. Let's blackmail them. I'm like, okay, like,
well,
you're kind of turning this up 100 yet.
There's a reason that Laszlo felt that way, and I think we should discuss it after last episode with him talking to the AC. He basically is distraught that he's looked at as such a villain. Like I guess he had his like he had inklings of that.
Suspicion?
Well, he had inklings that they would see him that way. It's just like the reality of it hit him, and it's like, damn, like they actually turned me into a monster, and him having to deal with that.
More ways than one.
But him having to deal with that is what made him feel like, okay, maybe I should stop hiding. Maybe I should just present who I actually am. So he takes off his goggles, and everybody sees him without his goggles anymore. That's basically a representation of that. And then also he says that if they're going to treat him like the villain, he's going to become the villain. And that's where we're getting what Naga was saying, that Laszlo's like, fuck that, we're just going to blackmail everybody.
Sounds very Casper-like. Oh, never mind. Sorry, I was just having Patreon daydreaming. Anyway, yeah, that's interesting. I think that's kind of like, I guess you could say, is the root of why he kind of is like, you guys have potential, but you're just scattered-brained. And I guess that's why he was kind of upset with the council. But to be fair, I feel like they kind of need more encounters with the council and see how things are. If they feel like their ideas are getting pushed back, then I feel like that's more warranted. I feel like their ideas seems more suspicious than actuality, which could be in actuality. But I feel like try to work with them first. Then if they're just not moving, then play hardball, because they haven't really implemented anything to change Malta's course yet. They're about to, but not yet.
Like Heathguard was saying when they meet him later, that's kind of the reason why we hired you guys. Because this group of people that they're all really suspicious about now are like, they're not going to be able to get it done in time. We need another group to do it. So I think this might be a point where Lazo needs to realize, all right, this is my job.
It's like basically like they were hired to do something that they were hired to you go out there and figure out what we need to do for the best of Malta. Because I feel like they would recognize our council's a mess. We have several different directions. we need to hire someone to basically give us clarity by going investigate, talk to people, give us the best possible options for us to vote on it, and not stay the same course.
Sure.
Yeah, give them the building blocks for a way forward. Yeah.
Quick thing. Apparently, Heathguard does not have any good things to say about Lander de Bellum's military leadership at all.
I mean, does anyone? I mean, I'm pretty sure his son is dead quiet about his military accomplishments.
I know you're a little biased because of what happened to you in the Patreon game.
Yeah, dude was an asshole. Like, we're not gonna speak about that. Like, let's just say Leon is superior in every way. But
there's still a chance.
I could be wrong, but I don't think he has much influence within Rebel because he's working under Icarus, but we don't know what he's being used for. Is he just a commander, or is because I'm pretty sure the leaders of that rebellion might be pretty aware of he's a pretty shit commander.
But he's a commander they have. Which is better than none.
True. That's true.
I'm just curious what that play is.
And he's also said that he's uses different tactics to Icarus, so maybe they're hoping a multitude of tactics will give a multitude of results.
What do you mean different tactics from Icarus? Do you mean like Icarus tactics works while his doesn't?
What I mean is that he says he uses different tactics to Icarus. It's not a matter of success because different tactics give different results. Like Landers.
Oh man. What can of worms did I open up? Let's just jump ahead to
Oh wait, do you want to mention Heathguard about him disappearing and him talking about the Precolarum and the
I was going to bring that up. The Precolarum. We actually find out a little bit more information about one particular member of the Precolarum, and that is Krilla Isaac. And we find out that she is the head. She's a savant, which is this is top secret information. And she is a practitioner of shadow magic, which is not taught regularly. It's very rarely taught. And she has the insight, perception of basically like a god. If you start acting strange, she knows you're acting strange, and she will probably figure out why you're acting strange. So
are you sipping for Krilla?
Listen, Krilla just
she's
seems
basically a god. I mean, I'm like, that's...
Listen, Krilla's from this description. Krilla seems like such a badass, dude. I can't.
I mean, I know.
Yeah, what do I?
Like, I could get into that if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
To get it short, because technically the party already encountered it, and I don't see why to keep it much secret. Hikatia is a Patreon city that I made with Scott. And how the party interacted with that city was very amazing. And the very few things they found there was also pretty interesting. Emphasis on few.
That's usually the case.
They found more about Hikatia after leaving it than they were inside of it. But yeah, basically Krilla is like part of the Precrum, which is the military intelligence of Malta, and how they interacted with Tristan, Krilla, and Ghost and Ava was interesting to watch. Also, the hints about their use of shadow magic that the Precrum studies and does that is also interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
It makes sense that Preclarum would be in such a place, though, because if it's supposed to be such a resort place, such a casino, gambling, and all that sort of entertainment sort of place, and you've got other people from other places turning up there, you'd kind of want to know what's going on.
Oh yeah,
and that'd be a perfect place to find out.
To keep it short and basically holds most of my cards to my chest, I told Scott that this city is essentially one part Las Vegas, and another part Washington D.C., but more towards like the agency side,
Okay.
where like a lot of the U.S. agencies are housed there, and basically a lot of intelligence gathering. So that was kind of like the model of beyond that, and it'll be a very
A lot of bureaucracy.
not bureaucracy. It's more like secrets intelligence gathering is there, not bureaucracy at all. When making the city, I wanted it to be a place where the party would have fun. That everyone had a reason to go there and report there. For example, Oscar, basically, he wants to develop a relationship with Corella because she has the military intelligence on her side. He's going to say, I see value to that. If we have that person on our side and have open communications with them, I could see potential value in going back to Hikatsia. Laszlo, his interest was peaked when he learned that, they practice shadow magic. I'm not familiar with shadow magic, and that's another reason why he probably would go there and basically like, what is this shadow magic? How can I understand it? And Doxy's character, Chrysalin, who probably has the most reason to go to Hikatsia because it is a Maltese/Ascarian resort, but is within the Maltese borders. It kind of best represents what Chris Ellen is as a person.
Now she has even more reason.
Yeah. So there's a lot of interesting people to talk to. There's a lot of motives and reasons why the party would want to go there and have a relationship with certain characters. It's a fun place to be at. Just be careful what you say.
Okay, so let's jump ahead straight to the conversations with Lady Arceum. I mean, because they have a conversation inside of Chris Ellen's chambers, saying what the plan is and plotting what they're gonna do. But we can move a little bit ahead.
A great conversation.
Laszlo's encounter with Lady Arceum.
It was. I love how that went.
I agree.
I messed that
Lore episodes are the best
Steve,
episodes.
You got some more to drop on you.
Flat out.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing. TK is like really good. If you want to find out lore about the world, you should probably be watching Thronekeeper because you find out a lot. Do you want to start a little bit?
Well, I mean, I could. It's just we wouldn't go anywhere.
Okay, like I could fill in this because I feel like this is where like my attention was most drawn towards. Like this was, I think, the highlight scene. So Oscar basically went to meet Lady Arceum because he kind of wants to gauge her motive. Like, what does she want? Why was she speaking to Arcane Congress members? And basically also figure out some time stuff. And he goes to her and basically kind of explains to her, hey, time is weird. Our time or our memory of time is weird. And I went to Akatsuka and I saw you there. And basically kind of say, like, I saw the exact dress you wore in that ball and you spoke to Arcane Congress members as you leave. What's going on there? Because I know you have interest in the Arcane Congress, but I don't know why. I don't know what your motives is. And she was like, I want to trust you, but I need assurances. And she was very hesitant. But when Laszlo was like, no, I'm willing to go in all out on understanding how to fight the Arcane Congress, because apparently that's a commonality they want. Also, just gives some side information to learn more about Lady Arceum. Apparently, she lost a lot of friends during the course of this entire war. Like, one was burnt down in the house. I wonder how that happened. And there was a stray arrow killed another one, and like there's several.
I popped into chat at that moment was a break at work, and it was the first thing that came to mind was the Daniel Fortescue from Medieval.
Yeah.
This guy that died from an arrow from an arrow and straight to the eye, and he was the leader.
My first guess would have been Josh's first Patreon character, but then there was the mention of one died in a house fire, and I am assuming that's Guinevere's father, and that there may or may not be Arcane Congress foul play in some of those deaths. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, Heathguard
suspects it, or Oscar pointed that out, and apparently she's finding herself with less and less brilliant minds around her, which you can assume what that toll is, that you're losing friends and people who are like-minded as you, who basically has a priority over magic. So what she does is she introduces to Laszlo about Maltese curses, which no one knew was a thing.
Yeah,
And
that's a pretty big thing.
and as Laszlo's been like looking into what kind of magic she was doing, Scott basically mentioned it wasn't shadow magic, but he did say it was kind of dark magic. And when she was finished, it basically came in form of a letter. She whispers something to it, and I think put a seal on it. And she says, "Okay, eat this. It'll make the message readable. But if you ever break the secret, the curse will basically give you babble mouth, which is mechanically speaking, Laszlo can no longer cast magic. He can no longer make sense, and he just becomes someone who just speaks gibberish. So without hesitation, he does it, and he reads it, and it says, "I paid the Arcane Congress to modify the memories or enchant some members of the council for a vote."
Yeah, the letter specifically says, "I paid the Arcane Congress to sway the minds of a couple of people at the party."
Yes, and that was honestly a big shock. I feel. I don't know about you guys. I feel like holy shit. That's like she could be tried for treason for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, possibly.
But honestly, it made me like her character even more that she is this ballsy. And a later conversation she has with Chris Ellen was that I don't like leaving loose ends. Well, I wonder what happened to those Arcane Congress members after she paid them. Because I'm like, oh, obviously they have blackmail on her. Oh, she did something.
Yeah.
They probably got their two goals.
Yeah,
Worth.
they got their 2 goals here. So I'm like, I wonder if I wonder that if that's why the pre-curriculum were there. It was like
The only other thing I have to add to that with that curse, so we might eventually see a tiny gibbering mouther.
Well, he actually didn't bring it up to Chris Ellen, so there may be a chance that he doesn't.
he can't repeat it, and that kind of sold Laszlo of I'm working with you because you too want to overthrow the Arcane Congress, and that's a prime motive for you, and that's something that I'm 100% on.
Yeah.
Laszlo always has said, I do not think Parendel is the problem. I think the Arcane Congress is a problem, and she very much agrees, and she is basically someone who's for that agenda. So that they're going to have a very interesting relationship in the future, and they also went on to talk about the ghost thing, which
well, we see that Lady RCM has not even looked inside the box, which this magical box that Laszlo tells her these mystical things happen, and she hasn't even looked inside the damn thing yet.
True.
Which I find is like, what the hell, lady?
Wasn't it like 2 days after he gave it to her, and she was waiting on the response from? She was waiting on the response for what those Arcane Congress guys did anyway.
No, because she was there. So. Because technically they're in the same room. Remember? Like
time
was weird, but
yeah, no, it's particularly muddled and throwing.
I think it's like she didn't have that much of a higher priority because she was doing her own project and she didn't know she probably thought this is probably just some sort of bag of holding or chest of holding, and probably didn't think too much to investigate it. Like Laszlo doesn't have that high of a standing within the court structure, so she doesn't have she doesn't feel like immediate obligation to immediately do this.
Yeah, but I feel like, okay, she's a magical researcher, and even if she can't go into the researching side, Laszlo is from the AC, so he knows what a damn bag of holding does. So if he's telling her that this thing is a lot more mystical than just a bag of holding, you think?
But she's also a politician and has her own things to research, so she would take other things a priority. She didn't really have an idea to compare how serious is this research. And then when he showed the ghost that has information about a friend of hers called Malik, which is a nice nice that was a Patreon character, and that was a nice hint that apparently RCM and Malik have a professional relationship, which is pretty cool.
I did turn into this a little bit. Yeah. I think she definitely put more priority on after hearing that.
After hearing him, because then she's like, there apparently is more to it than I first thought.
And she thought, yeah.
Yeah, so she's like, and basically,
And the mysterious figure that gave it to you also let you talk to ghosts that can tell you things about people I know. Oh, this might be a little bit more fucking important.
yeah, it'll be something more of interest. So seems like she's going to take that as more of a priority now.
Cool. Let's jump to Crystalline and Qatar.
Do you want to jump to Crystal and Guitar, or do you want to just jump to straight to Lady Arceum?
Well, with Crystalline and Qatar, we find out that the past doesn't seem to affect the future, and or doesn't seem to have that much of an effect on the future for certain people. Like in chat, Unfunny and I were talking about maybe that if Raven did sleep with that girl, you know, the poor slaver girl, that he probably wouldn't be his own ancestor. But that is because we find out that Qatar has absolutely no memory of Chris Ellen being at the party. He remembers her the first time that they met, that we've seen that they met, but he doesn't remember Chris Ellen at that party at all. She like, you know, quickly saves herself from looking like a weirdo by suggesting she had too much to drink. But other than that, you know, that's probably like the biggest point that we find out. Also, money is Qatar's first interest.
The only thing I have to say to that is, so he doesn't remember after they met the first time. Doesn't remember her. That's while they're at the party. Doesn't remember her while she's at the party. Maybe it's something else.
Yeah, I mean,
Might be that he's pretending. Just and very good at it. That's just my read of the situation because it keeps fucking happening. Either that or he's got a bad memory.
he remembers the first time they met because they slept together, and he totally remembers that. He just doesn't remember her at the party.
I don't remember her when they met at the party.
Yeah.
So he doesn't remember when they slept together then. So now he remembers. You see where I'm going with that? It's a bit like.
It's very complicated to explain because Lady Arceum said later she remembers Crescellin at the party. But,
Yeah, and she breaks it down a lot better. Like if you want to get a little bit more of an understanding, you should watch that episode. I actually didn't even put a timestamp, which I probably should have done. She breaks it down very scientifically. It's like she's very calculating about the whole entire situation when she talks to Chrysalin about it. So
and also Crescellin kind of, I don't want to say she built up a relationship with Arceum, but like I think Arceum's opinion of her improved after that conversation.
yeah, Chrysalin is definitely a jewel.
Because this entire time I was thinking like there's no way Lady Arceum actually likes any of this. Like she seems like more of like a cold. Like I made the comment that if Crescellin was a rose, Lady Arceum was a cactus.
Yeah, I saw that.
So it just seemed this wouldn't appeal to her, but how Doxy was going, like she was being respectful, she was actually being charming. She wasn't being as abrasive to Lady Arson than like probably needed. Also not being like thrown off by her cold demeanor.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
her persistence kind of cracked the armor. Pretty sure like Lady Arson has some monocle respect of Crescellin, but like they lived in two different worlds, so she didn't really thought much about her.
There is one major plot point after that, and that is we learn that there is a how do you say this word? I forgot. Simulacrum?
Oh yeah, basically a clone.
Simulacrum? Yeah.
Yeah, simulacrum, as I said.
Simulacrum. Yeah, I wanted to get the intonation right because I had the correct spelling, but I'm like, that's not how it sounds at all. But yeah, simulacrum. That there could be
like
a spell
combination between fulcrum and simulation. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. But we find out that there is a spell to basically clone yourself. However, the clone does not think it's a clone. It thinks it's you. And also the fact that it can be out talked by most people, except Lady Arceum brought up the fact that Chrysalin's simulacrum might be a little bit better than the other ones because she actually got Lady Arceum the chuckle, um, at a couple of things, and we seen some chinks in her armor. So she thinks that Chrysalin's simulacrum might be a little bit more effective than most other people's for diplomatic missions, but she was advising against it for one, the reason I just said, that the simulacrum won't think it's actually a simulacrum; it's going to think that it's Chrysalin, and two, if people find out, it will breed bad blood.
Yeah, and not to mention the potential places you're going to put it is a place where people have high tier of magical learning that could probably figure it out.
Yeah.
So sending to the Sill or sending to the quote unquote dwarves, probably a bad idea because they're like, that's not a person. Probably sending it to like the rebels, they probably won't be like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this?
Depends on the rebels, I guess.
I imagine they're ex-slaves. Like, I imagine their understanding of magic is very, very limited.
Yeah, like I said, it depends on the rebels.
So I have a discussion question. Snaga, you remembered Octavius's name.
Yes.
When Scott couldn't remember it.
Yes.
And once you brought it up, I'm wondering, because of something that happens in Kingmaker, if Octavius is a Sloko. And the only reason I'm asking is because everyone we've ever met in all of Aurorum campaigns, whenever their name starts with an O, they are Sloko.
There was one that wasn't. There's one that wasn't.
Who's that? I actually wanted to know.
Orsugo.
Orsugo.
Also,
Yes.
Octavia.
Okay.
Octavia.
Right.
Like I'm pretty sure we're certain Octavia and Orsugo are not Sloko.
You're right.
I don't think I'd want Orsugo to be a Sloko.
Yeah.
I'd more picture him more like a Warhammer orc boss sort of person. So
okay. I completely forgot about those two because I was like, everyone else we've seen.
It's just a meme. Honestly, it's just a meme.
It's like the Magneto's House of M at this point.
Memeing like Tyler's character whenever there's a Sloko. It's like, bet it has an O in it. Whenever there's a Sloko, which I'm assuming most of the Slokos we encountered are Patreon created. I'm pretty sure Ophelia was. I'm like 100% certain. I'm 100% certain Ophelia.
Was Ophelia?
Taserface, but he didn't have
Ophelia was.
Because Taserface wasn't. That's the only other one I can think of that wasn't. And as well as the guy in Momley. Do we even have his name?
Yeah, he doesn't. I don't know if we got his name.
Those two are the only two I think of that weren't patron.
I'm going to be disappointed if his name doesn't start with an O, though.
Might make it again.
Well, there is another Sloko who doesn't have a name with an O, and that's Finn. And I think that only happened because he was the very first Sloko we've met. Yeah, you're right.
This Car who was also wasn't, and it was Sasha from those two from Ophios's Session 0. Yeah.
You just broke my theory.
I do that a lot, don't I?
It's just a meme. Your theory is based off a meme. It's entirely based off a meme.
It was mostly a joke, but it's fun to think. Maybe he might be a Sloko. He's just really good at pretending to be one. I mean, a human.
Now I'm picturing Orsugo, but with like when he died, his legs suddenly became back to the snake one. You said that, it's just like I kind of can't get that out of my head.
It's me, Orsugo.
I should probably set up for a trump card before this time thing wears off. I think that's everything for Thronekeeper, though.
Yeah, that's Thronekeeper.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not sure what they're planning to do next. I forgot.
I'm sure someone will remind us somewhere if we have missed.
Yeah. But apparently, but in conclusions is they made great strides with the relationship with Lady Arceum and hopefully Lady Isaac, if she remembers.
Maybe.
We'll see.
I'll feel very bad for Doxy because she spent so much time working out that relationship.
And the memories fucking everything. Yeah. So we have Kingmaker.
Yeah.
We've had a little bit of a surprise in the middle of that one where it's like, oh, Neil was going to be going, but he's not going now. Oh, that's a mini heart attack and a half.
That was like a roller coaster. It's like, listen, Neil was going to go. He's going back to school or work or whatever,
Going
and
back to
that
studying, yeah.
time slot was going to be filled. And next week was going
This
to be our
week was going
last.
to be out. Yeah, this week was going to be our last year. It's like, ooh.
Yeah. And he's like, but apparently, and I was like, oh, Scott, you're such a dick.
Especially to Will, who we had that little chat after Kingmaker, where Scott's brother Will.
Oh yeah. He said, "Oh, I might need you to play a character in KM this week." And he's like, "Okay, just tell me." And then like I guess like an hour and a half before,
starts at 8 and something like that, and he gets a message around about like I think it was starts at 8 and around about 7 he got a message. No, I will just we'll leave that for now. Like, you son of a bitch!
Yeah.
I woke up fucking early for this.
Yeah, I feel bad for Will. Like he talks like. I'm not going to say what those opinions are.
Well, leave that to him.
Yeah, we are happy that Kingmaker isn't ending, but you know, it's because of some circumstances that are happening in real life that, like they said before, is Kingmaker's not ending is a silver lining in people's real life situations. So hopefully everyone can get back on track and can recover quickly. I don't want to say as soon as possible because then Kingmaker ends, but you know what? It's only because we like the characters, we like the story, and we want it to continue. So.
Yeah, it really would be a shame if Raven had to leave.
Also, what the fuck? I've been on this Grishka's gonna return propaganda train for like half of the episodes that are out right now. And we learned that Grishka probably wouldn't have returned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jake bringing that up in that little chat as well.
Like, I love Grishka. Like, but I'm just saying, like, it wouldn't. No, I'm not gonna get in there. I can't even finish that. I can't finish that joke. I'll miss Grishka if he was gone. I was gonna make a joke. I was like, oh, if Grishka's gone, then I guess the world's gonna be better. I was like, no, it'll be sadder.
I've been on this train for 3 episodes, and I was just gonna be wrong.
I mean, to be fair, Jake did something that to kind of explore an unknown, possibly dangerous part of a plane that he doesn't know. There's no assurances if there's a return trip to.
Yeah, and then Regicide fucked up time, which is very closely connected to things. So maybe there's a little wall stopping him from getting back in until that time thing's fucking resolved.
The only way this could be worse if someone just drops a trump card.
But speaking of time, let's talk about some Kingmaker, episode 6.
Yeah, we had a lot more conversations with Kroll and the Emperor, and them really getting on.
Yeah, it was very interesting. The Emperor had a very interesting conversation. By the way, do you guys see like the Emperor as evil?
No?
Dude, I'm gonna say this. I thought Daelric was grooming Kroll to be the next BBEG for like 2 to 3 episodes.
He could be. He could be.
I thought when Grishka came back, Kroll was gonna be the next bad guy.
The moment we met him in our Patreon game there, Naga, I did not think this guy was going to be evil.
I still don't think he's evil. I just think he just greatly he differs from the mainly Rayron.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I've stuck with it.
That's 100%.
It's like basically what the Mole Empire did was terrible, and he was their emperor. But it's like,
I mean, he would have had that starting point anyway because he was the last of them. There's the last of the emperors. So he had all that stuff built up that was already built up behind him in the first place for him to have been anywhere else.
At best, I see him as lawful neutral.
One of the things he did say, though, is that through his reign, they were able to perfect those experiments that basically made the spirit heavier so that they could use it as a fuel source. And they, let me say this, I'm guessing that that experiment that he was talking about concerning the perfected body, both in and out of this plane, was initiated by him.
Yeah.
The idea, if I remember correctly, was that they the twins were gods, and they were created to have the perfect souls, but not the perfect bodies. And then they made another one, which had the perfect body, but not the perfect soul. And the end result was to make the perfect, not parent, but mole, to have the perfect body and soul.
And spirit, yep. I don't know if they were created to be gods. I think they were just created to have heavier souls than everyone else. I think he said he felt like they made them too powerful. Those two.
There's explanations given in some PDFs that he's done with elemental spirits and that sort of thing, elemental planes.
Right.
Yeah.
Where the heaviest usually ends up becoming a contender to becoming god of that plane.
But also, because I've been also watching Dark Souls on Lost Initiative, my guess is that they kind of have, like, if you're looking at it strictly mechanically speaking, they probably were given mythic tier levels and then died and then became full-blown gods.
So when they died, it was actually the Mole King says that they committed suicide, basically just to fuck. He thinks it's just to fuck with him, but to actually cause ripples.
I mean, is he wrong?
I mean, he's not wrong. Like, I imagine how many people died. Like just say, okay, the Mole Empire sounds like asshole slavery, experimentation. Yeah, but we're talking about like the collapse of an empire. I wouldn't say overnight, but in a very short time span. And imagine what horrible things that they went through to the point where most of their history was wiped out.
A little help from some friends.
Yeah, that's because of one person, but
to be fair, it's two. The martyr was also part of it. She had different reasoning, but she also contributed in their downfall. And we don't know how many people died because of it.
I'm talking about their history being wiped out, not the not the.
True. Like the Arbiter wanted to continue it, but still, her reaction was like, I'm pretty sure like the curse kind of ensured that a large part of their history was wiped out.
Maybe. Mm-hmm. I can see. I see what you mean. Also, Daelric is a very in-depth explanation of the planes in his world and how they work. If you are looking to view that in the VOD, it is at 3 hours, 16 minutes, and 42 seconds. And then it continues at 3 hours, 18 minutes, and 15 seconds if you feel like skipping the little bit in between. But you should probably just watch.
Do you want to give the short version or?
With a timestamp, I think we're fine.
I mean, if they really need to watch it, because he sums it up also, and he sums it up around that time. So
okay.
Another fun fact: Abstergo 13 was named dropped in Kingmaker.
Again.
The elusive Abstergo 13. Long may he reign. Long may he parade.
That typo you did in Discord chat that time. It was a different Discord chat, but as Absterho 13, I'm like, Absterho? What?
But also, the Emperor also implied that he suspects that it wasn't just the Arbiter and the Martyr that were involved with the collapse of the Mole Empire. He suspects there's a third, because how he describes, like, throughout parent history, what he can understand is that there's always three. They always do things in pairs of three.
Groups of three,
Yeah, in groups of three. He has no concrete example, but he remembers that it was a three-pronged attack, and what he understands about the empire that the parent built afterwards was there's always three leaders, three major cities run by three people. It's always a trifecta. And apparently the Arbiter and the Martyr have some sway over the parent people. He suspects that there has to be a third individual. He doesn't know who it is. And one of my guesses was Abstergo 13, but that
doesn't make much sense to me. I think it's probably going to have something to do with Erebor.
I don't think it's Erebor.
Considering it's her place now,
it could be.
I think it's going to have something to do with her.
I think it's Krillin, to be fair. But what I was going back to was that, he was too young. Because apparently they're still researching.
Too young, and also considering where he was when we found him, and for what he said when we found him, I don't think that was him.
Yeah. it could be another god. The other idea I had because like I think this is more me having a big head, but it could be Snaga the Muses, but I doubt it because I feel like he wouldn't have much interest in impairing people. But he was apparently, according to Regicide, he was to them he wasn't a god. Like he was more of something they experimented on, or basically like his creations or
he
whatever.
was similar to them, so
So
he could have potentially also been another one to have a hand on it.
yeah, it's a potential. I doubt it, but it's another. Kurleen is the other option that comes to mind because I'm like, it'll be interesting. Because we don't know who Kurleen was before. Apparently, like she was a god that had a previous life, so it'll be like maybe she was somehow involved. Maybe it's the person with the 2 gold that now has 3 gold. That Rayron tried to seduce. So yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, he gave the girl some gold. Well, it was a gold specifically, but he still did it. God damn it!
It was a trifecta.
Yeah, they kept to the 3s. Yeah.
Actually, going to the trifecta thing, does that mean like threesomes are very popular in Parendel culture?
I mean, we haven't heard anything to say otherwise.
It's true.
I mean, I feel like that should be written in canon somewhere.
Rena, get on it.
Huh? Wait, what?
She has the ability to make things canon or not. That's something you can do.
Okay. I was like, wait, what?
I didn't get it.
Like, did you process what you just said?
I did, but I knew I get someone else.
I think it's too late because it was like, oh, canon. I was like, no, Steve, rethink what. I'm like, whoa,
It's called a throwback. And like, that's called a throwback.
oh god, oh no.
I got you going.
If you guys don't hear Steve next week, it's probably because Rena stole his soul. So yeah.
I mean,
Rita listens to
okay,
these.
Monica Captain of Chaos. Why the hell wouldn't I take it?
Oh man. Quick thing before we jump back to the future. I mean, the present is
Future?
Yeah, we
Past?
get this.
What is it anymore?
Future.
Time's broken.
Future.
We did get to see Kroll bitch slap Rayron again.
Yeah.
For appearance.
Yeah. And Aaron going, I can cut you down with a sword, you know? Like, and there's like, yeah, but I got less power. It's like, your master's power didn't matter much. We still killed him anyway. Like, yeah, but where were you? All right, my master was eating you. All right, yeah, we still killed him anyway.
That clip was so good though. Like, everybody go watch that clip.
It was so bad. It put Neil in his place.
Yeah, that was a good clip. Oh man, that clip is hilarious.
Like we put your message down before we could do it again. And we were like, my reply would have been, "Where's we?" Because everyone that killed him is gone. Like everyone else that killed him was gone. It's only Rayron and him.
Nah, Kroll gave the perfect. I'm sorry, the Emperor. I'm choosing to believe what you said, and that it's the Emperor who said that. But yeah, the Emperor gave the perfect response.
Yeah.
It should be said that Ellen, Rayron, and Kroll all get back together again, and end up going to Hordgwyn, where Scott kept wanting to go for some reason. And I was just like, okay, it makes more sense for them to go to Harad or Curse, or why the hell are they going to Hordgwyn again?
Scott was trying to like plot around. He's like, "Oh, do you want to go to Herod or Hogwen?" And like he asks his Tesh, and he's like, "Okay, sure." He's like, "Now you're being pulled towards the north, like by the power of plot." And he was like, "Oh, I feel like I have to go north." And he has an interesting conversation with Leon actually about which
religion.
Yeah, about religion, which
Val getting in touch with the advisors more than everyone else again. Oh, Ellen, sorry.
Yeah, it's like
Ellen.
Yeah. Leon felt more in touch with Val because Val kind of represents like one half of the deity that he worshipped, or I guess the prime deity that he worships now. That's why I guess that's one of the reasons why Leon felt kind of distant to them, because I guess the person that represents his religion is gone. So fast tracking. Then Val felt forward to go to north, and then he goes north. Apparently,
Ellen, we keep on mixing up Ellen and Val.
Oh, Ilan feels the pull to go to north, and then he goes north, and he meets Sparty, and is like, I don't feel the pull anymore.
We're
Okay,
sorry,
let's
Tej.
go ahead to Hod Gwen. Even though they originally were heading towards
yeah.
Cursefall, they're like,
Well,
let's go.
There is a reason they were going to Agwen, and that's because they wanted to go and investigate the time research place that the Mole King was discussing with Kroll.
Yeah, but if they're planning to get on out of the storm to eventually do that, technically, wouldn't it be faster for them to like go to their capital then teleport?
It would have been, but it was a very skipped thing.
Yeah, it was it was a very it's almost like Snaga rolled 2 percentage dices and basically brought the party together. So yeah, and then there's a Sloko who the Emperor was very familiar with the race.
Yeah,
I mean, considering what Ophius got up to, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I'm very curious if Ophios created his own race now. It could be, because think about it. The mole basically are basically like they breed like creatures, like that's one of their focuses. Like they basically have like these certain class of slaves have this important task.
They made the Perrin, the Buck, bears, and the goblins as well. So
yeah, Perrin, the goblins, and one of the things that I just put together about Ophios's race is that they have certain types of snake people that basically have certain tasks. There's the chroniclers, there's the hunters, there's the taskmasters. That sounds like something that's a very mole ideology of basically breeding specific people to do a specific task. So it would not be out of care. Like the only thing that seems odd is that they claim to be from another world, but also the Lopers is claimed that the Lopers are from another world, and so it's interesting to see if he unwittingly made his people.
There's also other theories going on that the Lopers are connected to the mole too. So considering the time temple, it's kind of tenuous personally, but it's still.
I mean, to be fair, it's not explicitly said, but it's like there's a lot of implications that a lot of people, if you're watching all the shows, you can probably put things together. Just how exactly is it probably still doesn't make sense to others, but it's interesting regardless.
And then they met the sucker.
Yeah, this local is like, apparently you came across one of my people. We are hunting Lopers. They are basically have been infiltrating the Paranel Empire. How do you know what I'm saying is? Oh no, we just lost.
Well, we're still recording at least. So unfortunately,
we're still recording.
So
yeah,
Vance has left, unfortunately, but we'll get him back probably at some point. It's a case of
like it was a Soloco. They talked to him. He basically revealed a lot about about.
Oh, he also said that the Loper they met was a lesser one, which is very interesting.
Yeah, a lesser one that can basically fold in like an army. So that's something to ponder, knowing that one that basically hold like a low military and Vance is back low military position, and we are aware that there's probably one that basically rolls half an empire.
Yeah, well, also we have the issue that it's potentially only lesser because of its power level.
True. So that's something to consider. And apparently, Ophios is one of the most famed hunters because he has been able to kill 2, which is a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2. I sure hope the event still has all the stuff he's recorded so far.
I'm hoping. Do you want to cut off here?
Well, we've covered everything basically. With Loper was the end of the show, and Scott had to leave because he was 50 minutes before he had to be at work and had to get other people to work and that sort of thing.
All right, everyone. That's going to be our episode. My internet cut out towards the end. So
There's going to be some unfortunate rambling at the end there, unfortunately, because cutting in and cutting out. But we'll hope you forgive us for that one.
yeah, I'm sorry. My internet just shut off for no reason. So sorry about that. Quick things, and then we're gonna end this episode. One is we want to thank you guys for listening. We also want to thank Snaga for being here and guesting. Another announcement: Steve put in the community announcements. If you want to be a guest on this podcast, send him a DM. Anybody can be a guest. We're not just taking cast members, although few cast members have said they want to show up on the podcast, which is really great, and we're excited to have them. A couple of other things. It's Daelric's birthday on Wednesday, so shower him with some love, everyone. That's gonna be it. We hope your weeks are safe. And you guys have anything else to say?
No, other than thanks to the cast for making the show so we can watch it, and thanks to Daelric again for the whole world that he's made.
Yeah. Thank for the cast for always sticking to the plot and following the intended guidelines that Scott was trying to implement you to rejoin the party. That's great. Other than that, everyone's great. The community's great. Scott is amazing. Love you, Scott. And always burn towns. That's the one thing I learned. So
Like it just seals up loose ends. That's all.
it does. It does.
Unless they ever speak
sure,
with Dead Spell.
I mean, if that's the case, make sure that the bodies are burned so horribly that the skulls are not intact.
Dude, Green is gonna get on you about that. Anyway.
Oh, sure. I mean, sure. He can argue with God. Sure. Do it.
Anyway, everyone.
I mean, I do. Yeah, thanks for listening.
You guys are great. Have a good one.
Have a good one.